Right now, running a successful automobile company is like trying to turn a cruise ship in a kiddie pool. Ford has been juggling a ton of balls lately, and let's just say, not all of them are staying in the air. Now, the days when Ford was on fire, smashing records, and dominating the market are long gone. What we now see is a bit of a roller coaster. Today, the company is facing supply chain woes, tech that's changing faster than your phone gets old, and customers with shorter attention spans than a goldfish. It's been a scramble to keep up. Add to that the drama of recalls, layoffs, and a production shutdown that's been dragging on for weeks, and you've got a recipe for some serious headaches. Now, in the midst of all this, Ford just dropped a bombshell that's got the whole car world talking. What exactly did they announce? And how will this impact the American automotive giant? Let's dive in and find out. Not too long ago, Ford used to be like the absolute king of cars. They were the ones who basically put the whole world on wheels, pioneering stuff, always innovating, and just oozing that classic American ingenuity. However, things began to take a turn for the worse at some point. Instead of being one huge error, it was more like a series of tiny cracks that gradually became a serious headache. It was a recipe for disaster. Antiquated procedures, managers who appeared completely disconnected from what the public truly desired, and a great deal of internal strife. Additionally, businesses like Tesla and Toyota were slicing past Ford as it struggled to solve the problem. Things are starting to get really interesting now. The CEO of Ford just revealed something shocking, and dealers are going crazy. You see, Ford became a little too avaricious there for a while. They began raising the prices excessively, particularly for those attractive models like the Bronco. At the time, it seemed like a wise decision because people were willing to pay more than they should have because demand was so high. But now that interest rates are rising and the economy is changing, people are reconsidering. When they might be experiencing a recession, who wants to spend a fortune on a car? Ford is currently faced with a difficult decision. Should they stick to their guns and see a sharp decline in sales? Or should they cut prices and risk suffering significant financial losses? It's undoubtedly a difficult position to be in. You only need to walk into any Ford dealership to get a sense of how significant this is. Broncos, Rangers, and shiny F-150s will be parked in rows upon rows, hardly moving. The most popular rides on the street, the ones that would be grabbed before the salesperson could even put the window sticker on them, are now filling up so quickly that dealers are running out of room. And I do mean it when I say that they are running out of space. These trucks and SUVs are being parked on grassy fields by certain dealerships because their primary lots are overflowing. They seem to be holding a festival for Ford trucks, but nobody's attending. The worst part is that there are significantly more brand new 2023 models available for purchase than there are 2025 models. That isn't typical, particularly in the truck industry. People are taking notice of a problem that is unique to Ford. This is where things get crazy. 5,063 brand new 2023 Ford trucks were still located on lots across the United States as of November 2nd, 24. At first glance, that figure might not seem significant, but let's examine it in more detail. These trucks make up a staggering 2.5% of all new Ford trucks on the market at the moment. To put things in perspective, most other brands have already gotten rid of their older models by this time of year to make room for the newest and best. However, those 2023s are still waiting for customers at Ford, collecting dust rather than miles. Furthermore, what about the 2025 models? I wish you luck in locating one. Less than 1,000 of the more than 200,000 new Ford trucks that are presently on the market in the US are 2025s. Think about it. Less than 0.5%. They seem like legendary beings or something. Although you hear about them, nobody has ever seen one. Let's now contrast that with those of Ford's competitors. For instance, Chevrolet is playing a completely different game. More than half of their truck inventory has already been switched to the 2025 models. Their 2023s, meanwhile, are all but extinct. They are keeping the inventory up to date and removing the older models from the lot, which is what Ford ought to be doing. Although Ram isn't exactly dominating, they are unquestionably outperforming Ford. 2023 models, or about 2,100 trucks, make up about 2% of Ram's current inventory. Although it's not ideal, it's a breeze in comparison to Ford's predicament. Let's now take a moment to discuss the Bronco. Do you recall how obtaining one felt like winning the lottery around a year ago? They were that uncommon. However, in the present day, they are ubiquitous. They seem to have cloned these things overnight. Really, and the Bronco isn't the only one that has accumulated. Ford's mainstay truck, the F-150s, is displayed on lots as though it were a museum piece. Dealerships are forced to drastically reduce prices in order to move these trucks due to their extreme backlog. Furthermore, this is a national problem, not just a few dealerships here and there. And the Ranger too? The same tale. Finding them was almost impossible a few months ago. Right now, dealerships seem to be beckoning you in from the street to remove one from their hands. It gets even stranger from here. The CEO of Ford has stated plans to increase the manufacturer's suggested retail price, or MSRP, for the 2025 models, even though dealerships are completely overflowing with unsold models. Indeed, increase prices. Give it some time to sink in. Considering how many unsold trucks are lying around, let's make them more expensive, they are considering. Customers and dealerships alike are baffled by this decision, and, in many cases, downright incensed. People are wondering, what is Ford even doing out here? It's not the end of the logistical nightmare. There is literally no more room for Ford dealerships. Some lots have had to get creative in order to deal with the overabundance of their 2024 inventory. They are parking trucks on grassy fields, renting additional space, and more. And this is becoming more than just a small annoyance. It's becoming a serious storage problem. The crucial question is this: where will they store all the shiny 2025 models that are coming off the production line, if they are unable to move the 2024 models at this time? Selling those new models at higher prices only serves to complicate matters further. Selling umbrellas during a drought is analogous to that. To put it mildly, it's a difficult sell. Take, for instance, the Ford Maverick. A few months ago, these tiny trucks were practically flying off the lots and hotter than a summer barbecue. Good luck if you were looking for one. Finding one on a dealer's lot was like trying to find a needle in a haystack because of the intense demand. Now though, it's a completely different story, man. There are Mavericks everywhere. It's impossible to swing a wrench without hitting one, really. Dealers are now practically pleading with people to take them. They're offering discounts ranging from $15,000 to $2,000 off everywhere they go. These price reductions further increase the appeal of the Maverick, which was already among Ford's most reasonably priced trucks. It is currently possible to purchase the base trim for less than $35,000. Not bad, isn't it? It's one of those trucks that won't break the bank, which is most likely why sales are still going well. Although it isn't breaking any records anymore, it is still competitive when compared to some of Ford's more expensive vehicles. In relation to Ford's more expensive vehicles, let's discuss the Ford Bronco. Do you recall the excitement surrounding its significant resurgence? It felt like the second coming of SUVs, man. Everybody desired one. Waiting lists were crazy. People were still waiting in line while dealers tacked on absurd markups. Ford workers were also getting caught up in the craze and spending more money to own one. People were willing to pay because it was akin to a game of pay up or go home. In the present, the Bronco seems to have changed from prom king to the forgotten child. All those Broncos that were so popular once? These days, they are merely collecting dust at dealerships all over the nation. It's nearly humorous. The area is Bronco City, and you pass a Ford lot. It's so bad that they've had to spill onto the grassy patches to make room for the endless rows of unsold Broncos that are arranged like they're having a party in the parking lot. And you know what's coming in? Yes, there will be more F-150s, including the gleaming new 2,500 models that Ford has been promoting. It's a little difficult to accept the Bronco's decline. It was the it car, after all. And now dealers are essentially stumbling over them. As an illustration, consider the 2024 Ford Bronco Badlands. This thing is a beast on paper. Sturdy construction? Verify. Ready for the off-road? Check again. You want to leave work and go straight to the mountains in this type of SUV. However, then, when you look at the price tag, you see that it is $76,000. $70,000! Anyone would have to apply the brakes after reading that, particularly when the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, its main competitor, is sitting there with a much more affordable price tag and looking all cool and confident. The problem with the Bronco is that it didn't become a complete failure overnight. With all the rugged charm and off-road capabilities that made it an ideal vehicle for adventurers, the Bronco remains a reliable SUV. However, the game has evolved. Ford's assembly lines have been producing them like no one told them the party was over, but demand has significantly decreased. As a result, the once hot-ticket item is now more of a shiny indulgence than a necessity, and dealerships are overflowing with Broncos. Not to mention the wider picture in this case. People's finances are getting tighter due to rising interest rates and an unstable economy. All of a sudden, the sleek Bronco in the showroom isn't quite as alluring as it was a few years prior. Don't get me wrong, it's still fantastic. But when your monthly payments start to resemble those of a luxury car, it begins to seem like a waste of money. The story of the Bronco is essentially a textbook example of what occurs when supply and demand are not in balance. When Ford first arrived on the scene, it was barely able to follow orders. It became a golden ticket because of its scarcity. Dealerships loved it, and buyers were clamoring to get their hands on one. With the knowledge that customers would pay, they tacked on exorbitant markups. However, after Ford increased production, were there any buyers? They cooled off, I guess. The buyers are now making the decisions after the market turned around. In an effort to get someone, anyone, to buy these SUVs, dealers are going above and beyond with incentives and discounts. As an illustration, dealers are offering discounts that appear to be reasonable on paper. A dealer worth $5,600. A $7,600 markdown is the result of the discount plus a $2,000 factory rebate. That sounds good, doesn't it? That being said, the expensive Bronco Badlands, which costs $62,900, is still available. That's a difficult pill to swallow in the current market, particularly when consumers are overloaded with options and wary of expensive goods. After all, $62,900 isn't exactly a deal, so Ford will need to look more closely at those savings if they want to actually sell these Broncos. Furthermore, if you find the Broncos pricing drama outrageous, you should wait to learn about the Ford Expedition. This is the big kahuna, Ford's full-size SUV. It has an incredible price tag despite having a ton of features, power, and space. We are discussing initial MSRPs of approximately $85,000. Yes, you read correctly. An SUV costs $85,000. These days, dealers are essentially pleading with customers to give them these, sometimes with discounts of up to $11,000. In this way, the cost is reduced to approximately $74,000. Yes, it's better, but that's still a lot of money. The majority of people anticipate that an item similar to the Expedition will cost around $60,000, not approaching $75,000. The F-150, Ford's all-star player, and the truck that essentially prints money for them, or used to anyway, will now be discussed. Even these iconic pickups, which people used to buy in droves, are beginning to accumulate on dealership lots. Additionally, dealers cut prices when there is no more room. To clear inventory, they are currently slashing up to $10,000 off of specific trim levels. There are actually some F-150 models available for less than $50,000 for the first time in years. Yes, that is a significant issue. Those cautious buyers who have been on the fence may finally be persuaded by this price point. But hold on, things get trickier. Ford's entry into the electric vehicle market hasn't exactly gone smoothly. Their EV division, which they have aptly named Model E, reported an astounding loss of $1.2 billion in the third quarter of 2024. Folks, that is only one quarter. The total losses skyrocket to an astounding $3.7 billion if you zoom out and examine the first 9 months of the year. Give it some time to sink in. And the crazy part is that Ford sold roughly 32,000 EVs in those 9 months. Now, if according to the calculations you do, don't worry, I'll do it for you. They lost about $37,500 for each car. The kind of math that keeps CFOs up at night is, let's face it, losing that much money each time you sell something. The problem is that this isn't solely a Ford problem. It is more akin to a major issue facing the EV industry. Everyone is attempting to paddle upstream in a market that has unexpectedly become extremely crowded. Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, was quite direct about it. According to him, the industry is experiencing a global price war and is heating up more quickly than a Tesla in absurd mode. The primary problem is that there are far too many electric vehicles being manufactured and not enough buyers waiting in line. It's just supply and demand, but the profits are making it a nightmare. There are a ton of new EV models on the market, which makes things even more confusing. Automobile manufacturers are vying with one another to produce everything from futuristic trucks to svelte sedans. And although that's fantastic news for anyone trying to get a deal, businesses are under a lot of pressure. To stay in the game, they are slashing prices everywhere, but doing so will result in razor-thin margins, or, worse, enormous losses. Additionally, Ford is not fighting this battle alone. Stellantis, the parent company of Jeep and Ram, is also struggling. Similar issues with overproduction are plaguing them, as cars are accumulating and prices are being lowered further to clear inventory. Too many cars, not enough buyers, and a never-ending struggle to undercut the competition make up this vicious cycle. Now, let's examine Ford's daring entry into the electric pickup market with the F-150 Lightning. Ford made the decision to fully commit to their electric game, believing that everyone would adore it. But you know what? It's more difficult to forecast the level of demand for a new, all-electric pickup truck than it is to find a parking space at the mall during Black Friday chaos. Giving the F-150, America's favorite truck for decades, an electric heart sounded like a brilliant idea on paper. It was intended to be the centerpiece of Ford's electric vehicle strategy, fusing cutting-edge technology with tough functionality. However, in practice, it's been a difficult journey, and the price tag is largely to blame for the drama. The F-150 Lightning is really awesome, don't get me wrong. It's an electric rendition of one of the most famous trucks ever. However, what about the numbers? Yes, it wasn't quite the huge success they had hoped for. The Model E, Ford's electric vehicle division, has been struggling. They experienced a 26% decline in sales in the first 2 months of 24. As if that weren't enough, they anticipate losing between $5 billion and $575 billion over the course of the year. With a B, that is a billion. The actual Lightning? On a lazy Sunday afternoon, it's going along about as quickly as a snail. They only managed to sell 400 units in November alone. 4,400 indeed. That is comparable to the number of trucks in a small town. Ford was therefore forced to reduce production plans by half and pump the brakes on 2024. Wouldn't that be a reality check? It gets even messier from here. Ford put its $12 billion investment in electric vehicles on hold, or canceled them completely. Why? The reason for this is that they have been losing about $60,000 on each electric car they sell. It's crazy to think of selling a car and essentially giving the keys and a large pile of cash. Additionally, they had a large dealer EV program in place, but they had to drastically reduce it after some legal drama and dealer withdrawals. Not precisely the kind of momentum they had hoped for. Oh, and do you recall that enormous battery plant that was being planned in Michigan? It's true that they have cut that project by over 40%. Subsequently, they have rescheduled the launch of their next large electric pickup to 2027. And the luxurious electric SUV they hinted at? Completely canceled. They seem to be attempting to balance bowling balls on a unicycle at this point. Customers are still establishing their relationship with electric vehicles, which contributes to the issue. Indeed, people adore the concept of preserving the environment and avoiding those unpleasant trips to the gas station. However, they're also concerned about issues like exorbitant sticker prices, range anxiety, such as whether this device will even reach grandma's house, and figuring out where in the world to charge the damn device. There is a lot. Ford slapped the F-150 Lightning with a starting price of almost $90,000. That kind of figure causes you to pause and reconsider all of your decisions in life. Indeed, it has many advanced features, such as a front trunk, frunk, that can accommodate your tools and snacks for a tailgate party, enough torque to pull a small house, and even the capacity to power your house in the event of a blackout. However, let's be honest, 90 grand is a lot of money for a truck, regardless of how cool the technology is. What about the market? It's making it very evident that buyers aren't waiting in line. Ford took the drastic decision to completely halt production until the following year due to the lackluster demand. Consider a situation where a flagship product is discontinued due to low sales rather than supply chain problems. Given that the F-150 Lightning briefly gained attention, it's a difficult pill to swallow. It surpassed competitors like the Rivian R1T and the Hummer EV to become the best-selling electric truck in the US back in 23. However, even that was insufficient to reach Ford's high sales targets. Ford is making changes at its Rouge Electric Vehicle Center in Dearborn, Michigan, in response to the weak demand. The plant, which produced Lightning trucks to satisfy what Ford believed would be an endless demand, was meant to be a center of innovation. 1,400 of the 2,500 employees there are instead being offered early retirement or reassigned. Even though Ford is quick to clarify that these are not layoffs, it's still a big change and a warning sign of trouble. This is how it is unfolding. 700 workers will be transferred to the Michigan assembly plant in Wayne to work on Ford's still in high demand Bronco SUV and Ranger pickup. The remaining 700 are being offered a retirement package worth $50,000 or the chance to transfer to other Michigan facilities. Although Ford is portraying this as a voluntary decision, it is evident that the F1 Lightning's problems are having an impact on the workforce. What is happening here then? To begin with, Ford may have overestimated the number of people who would be prepared to spend close to six figures on an electric truck. Due to that error, dealerships nationwide now have more Lightnings than they can sell. Due to their already full lots, some dealers have even begun to turn away more shipments. Additionally, the production line stops working when the trucks stop. As a result, workers are left waiting for demand or prices to change, essentially trapped in an employment limbo. This issue isn't unique to Ford. Rather, it's a symptom of the expanding difficulties facing the whole EV market. Obstacles include exorbitant costs, a dearth of extensive charging infrastructure, and persistent consumer mistrust of EVs. For many consumers, electric cars still feel like a luxury purchase, even with state and federal tax breaks. Furthermore, the repercussions don't end there. Production stops and employees are squeezed when dealerships are unable to sell the trucks. Many auto dealerships are now beginning to reconsider their strategy, and some are simply closing. AutoNation Inc., a well-known brand in the automotive industry and a major player in the US dealership market, recently took a risk. They liquidated 8 of their dealerships in the third quarter of 2401. That's more than a simple reorganization. 5 of those 8 were Ford franchises, and here's the deal. Yes, they did close more than half of the Ford stores. They didn't simply turn over the keys and leave, though. Oh no, they made a huge profit. They received an incredible $156 million as payment for the transaction. AutoNation seems to have won, doesn't it? This is where things get interesting. Though, what does this indicate about Ford? It's not exactly a great review if AutoNation is abandoning such a well-known brand. Let's face it, AutoNation exists to generate revenue. They sell cars to generate significant profits. They are not a charity. So, it's a clear sign that something is amiss when they label certain dealerships as underperforming and decide to sell them. And it's akin to saying, yeah, we're not so sure about you anymore when they do this with Ford, one of the most recognizable brands in the business. And let's be honest, other dealers may begin to have similar concerns if AutoNation continues to think in this manner. What initially caused these dealerships to be underperforming? The current state of the auto industry is, well, a little disorganized. Spending has become much more frugal, particularly for large purchases like new cars. Although impressive, Ford's lineup isn't particularly affordable. For instance, consider the F-150 Lightning. Although it's an excellent electric truck, the price tag may cause some people to reconsider. Those Ford dealerships are no longer the cash cows they once were when you combine that with growing interest rates, persistent supply chain problems, and fierce competition from electric vehicle startups like Rivian and Tesla. AutoNation most likely decided it was no longer worth the trouble after looking at their lots full of unsold cars. Why sit on unsold inventory when you could sell the dealership and make a substantial profit? Furthermore, this action goes beyond AutoNation. It might be the beginning of a more significant change in the sector, a kind of chain reaction. Here's why this is so important. Dealerships serve as Ford's direct line of communication with its clientele in addition to being locations where cars can be purchased. Ford might be in serious trouble if other dealership groups start doing the same thing AutoNation did. But in fewer dealerships, there are fewer locations for buyers to view their vehicles, less market visibility, and increased pressure to prevent a decline in sales. This might force Ford to examine their actions more closely. Are their cars simply too costly for today's frugal consumers? Is their significant effort to promote electric vehicles failing to resonate with customers? Ford will have to respond quickly to these difficult questions. They run the risk of more dealers pulling the plug if they don't, and they most definitely don't want to be on that slippery slope. What are your thoughts on this then? Tell us in the space provided for comments. In order to receive updates on all of our newest videos, please remember to like this one, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell. Click the video on your screen while you're still here to view more fascinating content similar to this one. Ford's reputation for reliability has been a cornerstone of its identity for over a century, earning the trust of millions of drivers worldwide. Known for producing durable and robust vehicles, Ford has built its legacy on models like the F-150, Explorer, and Mustang, which have consistently demonstrated strong performance and long-lasting quality. The F-150, in particular, stands out as one of the most dependable trucks on the market. Often praised for its tough construction, powerful engines, and ability to handle demanding workloads. Similarly, models like the Ford Escape and Edge are recognized for their practicality and low maintenance costs, making them popular choices among families and daily commuters. Ford's commitment to improving reliability is evident in the extensive testing protocols it employs, subjecting vehicles to extreme conditions to ensure they meet the highest durability standards. This dedication has helped the company maintain its standing as one of the most trusted names in the automotive industry. However, like any major automaker, Ford has faced its share of challenges when it comes to reliability. Certain models, particularly earlier versions of some SUVs and sedans, have drawn criticism for issues related to transmission performance, electrical systems, and engine reliability. Despite these setbacks, Ford has taken proactive steps to address these concerns, implementing advanced quality control measures and offering extended warranties on problematic components. Additionally, Ford has embraced modern technologies to improve the reliability of its newer models, such as incorporating predictive maintenance features and over-the-air software updates. These advancements allow drivers to stay ahead of potential issues, ensuring their vehicles remain in optimal condition. While no automaker is immune to occasional reliability concerns, Ford's willingness to evolve and adapt underscores its commitment to providing customers with dependable vehicles that stand the test of time. Ford's focus on innovation has played a significant role in enhancing its reputation for reliability in recent years. The company has adopted advanced manufacturing techniques, such as the use of high-strength aluminum alloys in its trucks, to improve durability without compromising performance or efficiency. This approach has been particularly evident in models like the F-Series trucks, which have earned accolades for their ability to withstand rigorous use in both personal and commercial applications. Additionally, Ford's investment in hybrid and electric vehicle technology demonstrates its commitment to reliability in the face of changing market demands. Vehicles like the Ford Maverick Hybrid and Mustang Mach-E have shown that the company can deliver modern, fuel-efficient options without sacrificing quality or dependability. By combining time-tested engineering principles with cutting-edge technology, Ford continues to strike a balance between innovation and long-term reliability. Customer support has also been a key factor in Ford's ongoing reliability efforts. The company offers comprehensive service plans, accessible repair networks, and user-friendly maintenance tools to ensure owners can keep their vehicles running smoothly. Ford's extensive network of dealerships and certified repair centers makes it convenient for customers to access genuine parts and expert service, enhancing the overall ownership experience. Moreover, Ford has embraced digital tools to keep drivers informed about their vehicle's health, including mobile apps that provide real-time diagnostics and maintenance reminders. These features not only empower owners to take a proactive approach to vehicle care, but also build trust in the brand's reliability. Combined with Ford's transparent recall policies and emphasis on continuous improvement, these efforts highlight the company's dedication to meeting and exceeding customer expectations in the reliability department. Looking ahead, Ford's commitment to reliability remains a top priority as it navigates the future of the automotive industry. With the rise of electric and autonomous vehicles, the company is doubling down on quality assurance processes to ensure these new technologies meet the same high standards as its traditional models. Ford's recent investments in battery research and advanced manufacturing facilities underscore its focus on creating EVs that are not only efficient, but also dependable for long-term use. The integration of over-the-air updates and predictive maintenance features in its vehicles reflects a shift towards smarter, more resilient systems that can address issues before they become problems. By combining its heritage of rugged dependability with cutting-edge technology, Ford is positioning itself to remain a leader in providing reliable vehicles that meet the evolving needs of drivers worldwide. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends. It really helps the channel grow. And we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What do you think about Ford's game-changing announcement? Are you excited for the future of electric vehicles and advanced car tech, or do you think there's more to the story? Let us know your thoughts. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have that notification bell turned on so you don't miss out on our future videos. We've got plenty more exciting updates, deep dives, and breaking news coming your way. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.